It began with the sound of rain, soft, steady, and unhurried, falling on the rooftops of a little town that always seemed half asleep. The streets glistened beneath the street lamps, their golden reflections rippling across puddles like melted stars. Somewhere down one of those cobblestone lanes, tucked between an old bakery and a clock repair shop, stood a tiny bookstore with fogged windows and a flickering sign that read, "The Bookshop of Sleep." Most people walked past without noticing it. The rain had a way of blurring the words, and the light above the door was dim enough to make it seem like a mirage. But for those who happened to step inside, usually on nights like this, the world never quite felt the same again. The moment you push open the door, a bell chimes, not a bright, tinkling sound, but a soft, velvety note that lingers in the air like a sigh. The warmth of the shop greets you immediately, along with the scent of old pages and something faintly floral, like lavender left between the leaves of a book long ago. The rain outside fades to a murmur, tapping gently on the windows as though it's content to wait for you. Inside, time slows. The light comes from small lamps scattered across shelves and tables, their glow golden and steady, making the air shimmer slightly as if the rain's rhythm continues in here, just quieter. There's no one behind the counter. The air feels expectant, but not empty, as if the shop itself is aware of you, waiting patiently to see what you'll find. You begin to wander between the tall, uneven shelves. They're packed with books of every size and age, some bound in leather, some in fabric that looks like it's been woven from twilight itself. The titles are handwritten in delicate ink: Dream Atlas, Whispers of the Moon, 100 Nights Beneath the Rain. Each one seems to hum faintly as you pass, as though breathing in sync with the rain outside. The deeper you go, the more the sound of the rain changes. It becomes softer, warmer, almost musical, a rhythm that feels less like water and more like a lullaby. You reach out and run your fingers along the spines of the books. They're cool to the touch at first, but each one warms beneath your fingertips, as though acknowledging you. There's a strange comfort in it, this quiet companionship between reader and book, between dream and rain. At the far end of the shop, there's a round wooden table with a single book open upon it. A candle flickers beside it, its flame bending with each breath of the storm outside. The book's pages turn slightly, though there's no wind. You move closer, curious. The writing is delicate, looping, almost glowing, words written in a language that feels familiar in your heart, even if your eyes don't recognize it. As you stare, the letters seem to shift, forming words you can understand. For those who seek rest, the story will find you. You blink, and the candlelight flickers. The words fade back into the soft swirl of ink. But the message lingers, echoing faintly in your thoughts. You glance around, but the shop is still empty. The only sound is the rain, steady and soothing, wrapping the world outside in silver calm. You pull out a chair and sit at the table. The moment you do, the air changes, a deep, quiet sigh of welcome. The shelves seem to breathe again, the rain grows softer, and for the first time all night, you feel your body truly relax. The book before you turns a page on its own. The paper glows faintly, and without thinking, you lean closer. The letters shimmer and rearrange themselves into a story that feels like it's being written just for you. It begins with rain, always with rain, falling over the same small town, over the same bookshop, on a night much like this one. The words move slowly, rhythmically, like water flowing downstream. You read, or perhaps you listen, though no voice speaks aloud. You see yourself walking through the door again, only this time, the shelves seem taller, the air thicker with the scent of stories. A soft light spills from the corners of the room, and the books hum a little louder, their whispers almost words now. You wander deeper into the shop, feeling the world beyond its walls melt away, the street, the sound of cars, even the idea of time. There is only this moment, this place, and the soft heartbeat of rain. Somewhere, you hear the faint rustle of footsteps. You turn, expecting someone, but no one appears. Instead, from behind one of the shelves, a voice as soft as sleep speaks, slow, calm, and kind. "You've come for a story, haven't you?" it says. Everyone does, eventually. You don't answer, but you nod. The voice chuckles gently, like the sound of turning pages. "Then let the book choose you." The lights flicker once, and you watch as one of the books, a small, dark one on the highest shelf, slides forward, its spine catching the candlelight. It drifts downward, floating gracefully through the air until it lands before you with a sound like the softest sigh. Its cover is embossed with silver letters that glow faintly, "The Bookshop of Sleep." You open it. The scent of rain and paper deepens, filling your senses. The words inside begin to move, forming sentences that seem to speak directly to your breathing, to the rhythm of your heart. And as you begin to read, the world shifts again, slowly, gently, like the turning of a dream. The candle flickers, the rain deepens, and you realize you're no longer sitting at the table. You are within the story now. The bookshop stretches endlessly around you, its walls dissolving into mist. Shelves fade into forest paths, and the floor becomes a carpet of fallen leaves, wet and glistening from the rain. Somewhere far above, stars shimmer faintly through the clouds, their light diffused by the drizzle. You walk forward, and each step feels softer than the last, until it no longer feels like walking but floating. In the distance, through the rain and the fog, you hear another sound, the quiet crackle of a fireplace, the low murmur of turning pages, the heartbeat of peace itself. You follow it. And as you do, the voice returns, calm, slow, comforting, guiding you deeper, not just into the story, but into sleep. Every story, it says, is a place to rest. And tonight, this one is yours. You keep walking through the mist, the soft glow of lanterns flickering along the way like breadcrumbs left by dreams. Each light sways gently with the rhythm of the rain, their reflections dancing across puddles that mirror the sky. You notice that the air here doesn't chill you. Instead, it feels like the perfect balance, cool enough to refresh you, warm enough to comfort you. Every breath tastes faintly of petrichor and old paper, like a library after a thunderstorm. Soon, you come to a clearing, though it's not outside at all. It's a circular room of bookshelves that seem to rise forever, disappearing into the clouds. The shelves curve gently, forming a dome that feels alive, like you're standing in the beating heart of the story itself. In the center of the room sits a great wooden chair, worn smooth by time, facing a crackling fireplace that burns with quiet, golden flames. You can hear the faint hiss of the rain outside the window, blending with the low hum of the fire, two sounds that shouldn't mix, but somehow do, in perfect harmony. A mug of tea waits on a small table beside the chair. Steam curls upward, carrying the faint scent of chamomile, honey, and something nostalgic, perhaps the memory of 100 rainy nights. You feel a quiet urge to sit, and when you do, it feels like sinking into a cloud. The cushions embrace you, and the rain's rhythm deepens, becoming a slow, peaceful metronome. The book from before, the one that brought you here, rests on your lap. Its pages glimmer faintly in the firelight. You turn one, then another. The story continues, and you realize with a slow, dawning calm that it's describing exactly what's happening now, you, in this chair, by this fire, listening to the rain. You smile softly at the strange comfort of it all. You lean back and close your eyes, letting the rain take the lead. It falls in patterns that sound almost deliberate, like a song composed just for this room. A soft creak echoes somewhere behind the shelves, and you imagine the bookshop breathing again, content and alive. Perhaps the shelves themselves are listening too, leaning closer to the rhythm, humming in quiet approval. The flames flicker lower, turning from gold to amber, from amber to a gentle ember glow. The light on the ceiling wavers like ripples on water. You feel yourself drifting, not away, but deeper in. The fire's warmth spreads through your body, soft and even, as though the chair itself is exhaling beneath you. In the corner of your vision, you notice movement. A figure appears, or perhaps it's always been there, seated across from you in a second chair. They're old but not frail, their eyes full of the same shimmer that the rain carries. They smile, that slow, patient kind of smile that needs no words. In their hands, they hold a book identical to yours. They don't speak, but somehow, you understand. They're reading the same story. You both turn a page at the same time. The firelight glows brighter for a moment, casting a gentle halo around the room. Then the figure nods, closes their book, and stands. They move toward the shelves and disappear between them, leaving behind only the faintest trace of lavender and parchment. You don't feel alone when they go. Instead, the space feels fuller, as if their presence has become part of the air itself. Outside, thunder murmurs far away, not sharp, not loud, but like a heartbeat rolling through clouds. The rain grows softer, more rhythmic, like the steady breathing of someone peacefully asleep. You glance at the window, and though you can't see much beyond the fog, you know that beyond the glass lies the sleepy town, every roof glistening with rain, every street washed in silver. Somewhere out there, someone else might be reading too, lulled by the same storm. The fire cracks one last time. You close the book gently. Its glow fades to a dim, steady warmth, as though it's gone to sleep too. You set it down on the table beside your tea, which has cooled but still smells sweet. The clock on the wall ticks slowly, steadily, as if keeping time with your heartbeat. And in that perfect stillness, the whisper of rain, the hum of the fire, the soft weight of the story, you feel something shift inside you. The world outside can wait. The night can hold you for a while longer. You let your head rest against the chair, your breath slowing, your eyelids growing heavy. The bookshop of sleep is quiet now. The shelves seem to lean closer, their stories whispering softly among themselves. The rain outside has settled into a dreamlike drizzle, as though it too has found peace. The candle on the table flickers once, then steadies. The flame sways gently, watching over you. Somewhere, faintly, you hear the same soft voice again, the one from before, whispering through the rain, "Every story has an ending, but rest is not one of them. It's just the space between dreams." You smile, drifting. The words fade into the rhythm of rain, into the soft hum of the world half asleep. And as your breathing deepens, as the last page turns in silence, the bookshop sighs, long, slow, and content, before settling into the same peaceful slumber that now carries you away. The rain has softened to a whisper now, a fine mist that brushes against the windows like a lullaby played on glass. The golden light of the fire flickers one last time before dimming into a gentle glow, casting long shadows across the floorboards that sway and breathe with the rhythm of the storm. The bookshop of sleep has become so still that you can almost hear the heartbeat of the place, that subtle, steady thrum of warmth and life that lingers long after the last story has been read. You shift slightly in the chair, your body heavy but relaxed, your limbs sinking deeper into the cushions as though gravity has turned tender. The book still rests beside you, its cover faintly warm beneath your fingertips. If you listen closely, you can still hear it, not words, not quite music, but a hum, low and constant, like the gentle murmur of a dream that hasn't ended yet. It's as if the story itself is breathing, inviting you to stay just a little longer, to drift in its quiet embrace. The window beside you fogs over from the warmth of the room, and through it, the rain outside looks like falling silver. You can make out the faint shapes of lanterns glowing in the mist, their reflections dancing across the cobblestones. Somewhere in the distance, a clock tower chimes, soft, unhurried, each note spaced perfectly, giving the night its rhythm. The world beyond the glass seems far away now, slower, softer, as though it too has joined in the quiet spell of the rain. In the faint reflection of the window, you catch a glimpse of yourself, eyes half closed, wrapped in firelight and calm. But for a moment, you think you see something else, too. A shape moving gently among the shelves. Perhaps it's the same quiet keeper of stories from before, or maybe it's simply the shadows of the books themselves, stretching as they settle into their nightly rest. You find yourself smiling faintly. The bookshop feels alive in a way that's impossible to explain, like every story within these walls has its own heartbeat, its own sigh of contentment, and tonight, they are all dreaming with you. You close your eyes again, listening. The sound of rain becomes slower, almost like a breath. It begins to blend with your own, until you can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Every inhale feels lighter, every exhale longer. The fire crackles softly, the rain whispers against the windows, and the shelves creak faintly, a symphony of tiny sounds that wrap around you like a melody meant only for this moment. Then, faintly, as though coming from somewhere deep within the shop, you hear it, the soft rustle of a page turning. Not your book, another one. Then another. The air seems to hum in response, and you realize that the stories here never stop. Even when no one is reading them, they go on, living, breathing, whispering their words into the fabric of the night. Perhaps that's why the shop feels so calm, so safe. It's a place where stories never sleep, but instead keep watch over those who do. You imagine the thousands of pages surrounding you, all those tales of distant lands, of dreams and quiet adventures, murmuring softly to one another in the language of paper and ink. You picture the words floating up like tiny sparks, rising toward the ceiling before fading into the rain. The thought makes you feel even lighter, as if you're part of it, another story, resting quietly among the others. The candle beside you flickers again, its flame now no larger than a teardrop of light. You watch it dance for a few seconds before it steadies, glowing faintly like a star that refuses to fade. You realize that you've lost track of time completely. Minutes could have passed, or hours. But it doesn't matter. In the Bookshop of Sleep, time moves differently. It stretches and softens, becoming something you can almost touch. You take another breath, long and slow, and the scent of the place fills you once more, lavender, parchment, rain. Each note seems to settle somewhere deeper inside you, dissolving the last bits of tension from your body. Your eyelids feel heavier, your thoughts slower, your heartbeat steady. Somewhere in the distance, maybe beyond the shelves, maybe within your own dream, you hear the quiet voice again. It's softer now, as if speaking through layers of rain and sleep. Rest now, it says, the tone warm and kind. The stories will keep turning their pages for you. You've found your chapter for the night. The rain answers in gentle applause, tapping lightly against the window. You smile, barely awake, barely aware, floating somewhere between thought and dream. The voice fades, the sounds grow slower, and soon even the rain becomes just a rhythm, one you no longer need to listen to, because you are part of it now. The Bookshop of Sleep exhales quietly, its shelves settling. The candle burns to a golden ember. The world outside the window disappears into mist. And in the softest, warmest quiet, surrounded by stories, by rain, by peace, you drift. No ending. No beginning. Just the gentle turning of another page, and the sound of rain, whispering you deeper and deeper into sleep. The rain outside falls softer still, thinning into a silvery drizzle that hums gently against the glass like the faint memory of a lullaby. The entire world seems to have curled inward, folding itself into the comfort of the night. Inside the little shop, everything is cloaked in golden stillness. The shelves no longer whisper, the air no longer stirs. Only the faint crackle of the fire remains, like a heartbeat that beats just enough to remind you you're safe, that time here is nothing but an echo of the rain. You breathe in deeply, and the scent of the place feels richer somehow, the sweetness of old paper mingling with the earthy smell of wet wood. The warmth from the fire reaches your hands, and for a moment, It feels like the shop itself is holding them. The chair beneath you is molded to your shape, every curve a soft cradle for your body. It's a perfect stillness, so complete that it feels like being wrapped in sleep itself. Your eyelids flutter open once more, and you glance toward the fogged window. The street outside glimmers faintly, puddles shimmering like liquid moonlight, lanterns flickering like stars caught beneath the rain. The whole town looks half-dreamed, softened by the drizzle and by distance. You can almost imagine that every building, every cobblestone, every raindrop belongs to a story still being written somewhere, quietly, by invisible hands. The candle beside you gutters once, as if sighing, then steadies. Its flame glows low, no longer reaching but simply resting, content to keep you company a little longer. You find yourself watching it, the tiny dance of light and shadow on the wall, the way it flickers like thought or memory. You could swear the shadows move like words written in air, forming the faintest suggestion of sentences before dissolving again. You don't try to read them. There's no need. The meaning is already in the quiet. The book that brought you here sits open beside you still, though you no longer feel the need to turn its pages. You realize something gentle, something soft and wordless, that the story isn't meant to be read to its end. It's meant to be lived for a while, like a dream one drifts through before morning. Every reader who finds this place, every person who steps inside the Bookshop of Sleep, becomes part of its pages for a night. You are one of them now, and the shop, in its old, knowing way, is keeping you safely within its story until dawn. A soft sound comes from the corner, a tiny creak, then another. You look toward the shelves, and in the flickering light, it seems as though one of the books is gently swaying. Then another. Then another. Slowly, the shop begins to hum again, faintly, almost imperceptibly, a harmony of rustling pages and quiet sighs. It's not unsettling, it's beautiful, like the sound of the wind turning through the trees, or the ocean rolling beneath the stars. The books are dreaming, you realize. They do this every night. They dream their own stories, whispering them to each other until morning returns. The sound blends perfectly with the rain. Every tap against the window pane matches a rustle of a page, every drip from the eaves aligns with the rhythm of your breath. The whole world, the storm, the shop, the words, you, has become one continuous, unbroken lullaby. Your thoughts grow soft, unfocused, like clouds drifting across a quiet sky. There's nothing to chase, nothing to do. You're not even sure if your eyes are open anymore, but it doesn't matter. The warmth of the fire, the rhythm of the rain, the heartbeat of the stories, they hold you effortlessly. Even your heartbeat slows, syncing with the rhythm of the world around you, calm and easy and infinite. The air grows cooler as the night deepens. A faint breeze flows through the cracks in the window, carrying with it the scent of rain and distant pine. It brushes across your cheek, as gentle as a hand smoothing the last thoughts from your brow. You breathe it in, long and slow, feeling it ripple through every part of you. The sound of rain fades to a hush, as though the storm itself has decided to rest. The fire gives one last, tender crackle. The candle's flame dips low, curling like a sleepy sigh. In the Bookshop of Sleep, that quiet haven of rain, warmth, and story settles completely. You can almost hear it exhale, the old wood relaxing, the air growing heavy with rest. The shelves no longer move. The books no longer whisper. Even the rain outside seems to have fallen into dreams. Your body is weightless now. Your thoughts have thinned into silence. Every sound is folded inward until there's nothing left but peace. The last thing you feel before you drift away completely is the warmth of the fire fading into your skin and the rain's hush blending into your breath. Then, only stillness. The kind that feels endless. The kind that feels like home. You are asleep. The bookshop sleeps with you. And somewhere far beyond the rain, a new story begins to dream. The night stretches on, seamless and soft, like an unbroken ribbon of calm. The Bookshop of Sleep seems to float now, suspended somewhere between the last breath of the storm and the first breath of dawn. The world outside is cloaked in mist, and even the street lamps have dimmed to a hushed, amber glow. Inside, the air has grown cool and still, holding the faint scent of ash and lavender, the perfume of quiet places. You rest in your chair, the weight of the blanket and the rhythm of the rain long since absorbed into your being. Your breathing is slow, deep, and steady, perfectly matched to the pulse of the room. Every so often, a raindrop rolls down the glass with the softest sound, like the final note of a song that refuses to fade. The candle's flame wavers faintly, then burns steady again, as though keeping time with your sleep. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the walls of the shop, the rain has eased into a misty drizzle. The town outside has fallen silent. The cobblestones gleam faintly, slick with the memory of rain, and a low fog curls through the alleyways like smoke from a dreaming chimney. The sound of the nearby river murmurs softly through the fog, its current lazy and rhythmic. The whole world seems to be breathing with you, in, out, a lullaby so ancient it feels like the very heartbeat of night itself. Inside, the shelves stand tall and unmoving, but if you could listen closely enough, closer than a waking mind allows, you might still hear it, the soft whisper of the books as they dream. Their pages rustle with stories unfolding in the dark, tales no reader will ever find written down, because they live only in the hush between heartbeats. Some whisper of travelers walking moonlit roads, others murmur of oceans lit by starlight, or forests that sigh when the wind passes through. Each one adds its voice to the gentle hum of the shop, until the entire place feels like a living, breathing being, wrapped in its own gentle slumber. The fire, now reduced to glowing embers, hums faintly with warmth. Its orange light flickers across the walls, tracing the edges of books and shelves with the same care a mother might use to tuck in a sleeping child. Shadows sway, slow and graceful, like dream fragments floating in the air. The candle burns lower still, its flame shrinking until it glows no brighter than a star seen through rain. You shift slightly, the chair creaking softly beneath you, a sound that feels ancient, kind, like the sigh of a companion who has kept you company for lifetimes. The warmth against your skin feels like memory now, a lingering touch of comfort that asks for nothing, promises nothing, but gives everything. The night continues to unfold, quieter and quieter. Somewhere beyond the mist, the clouds part just enough for the moon to emerge, pale and full, casting a silvery light that spills faintly through the window. It drapes across the shelves and over the floorboards like the softest silk. The books seem to glow beneath it, their titles faintly visible, their bindings shimmering with dust motes that drift lazily through the air. One book, the same one you had been reading, remains half open beside you. Its pages turn once, slowly, as though moved by a whisper of wind or perhaps by the lingering touch of magic. For a brief moment, a single word glows faintly on the page, rest. Then it fades, the ink blending back into the quiet warmth of the parchment. If anyone were to pass by outside, a late-night wanderer caught in the last of the drizzle, they might see the faint glow from the bookshop's window, a golden shimmer in the fog. They might pause for a moment, drawn to it, sensing its warmth even through the cold night air. But the door would not open for them, not tonight. The Bookshop of Sleep knows when to remain still. It opens only for those who need it most, and tonight, it has found you. The night holds steady. Time no longer moves in straight lines here. It bends and stretches softly, like fabric under gentle hands. You are both dreaming and awake, both reader and story, both the breath of rain and the heartbeat of the bookshop. Somewhere, far beyond this dream, dawn is beginning to rise, faint pink light just touching the horizon. But it will not come here yet. The Bookshop of Sleep knows how to hold the night for a little longer, to let you drift deeper, to let your body and mind fully rest. And so the story lingers, suspended in its final, perfect calm, the rain now a whisper, the fire a soft glow, the air still and sweet. The shop breathes slowly. The candle melts into silence. And you, wrapped in warmth and story and sleep, drift weightlessly, carried by the rhythm of the rain and the turning of unwritten pages. Outside, the fog curls closer around the door. Inside, the last ember fades to gold, then to nothing. The bookshop of sleep rests once more, dreaming quietly until it is needed again. And somewhere within its dreaming walls, your story, gentle, endless, and calm, continues. The night deepens until it feels endless, stretching into a kind of silence that hums softly beneath everything, a silence alive with comfort rather than emptiness. The air in the bookshop has cooled slightly, but it holds the faintest warmth from the dying fire, enough to make the space feel like a heartbeat within the wider, sleeping world. Every breath you take seems to ripple outward, joining the rhythm of the shop itself, a slow, patient inhaling and exhaling that fills the room with peace. Outside, the fog has thickened, wrapping the town in its silvery cocoon. The lanterns on the street glow like sleepy fireflies behind the mist. A few raindrops still fall from the eaves, steady and measured, as if the storm has decided to play one last lullaby before fading into memory. Somewhere far away, a river murmurs, slow in content, winding its way past the cobblestones toward the unseen sea. You stir just slightly, still half dreaming. The book on the table beside you hums faintly, almost imperceptibly. Its pages rise and fall with the rhythm of your breath, and for a fleeting moment, you could swear the ink glows once more, the faintest shimmer of silver tracing across the words. It's as if the story itself is tucking you in, whispering its gratitude for your company. The air tastes faintly of honey and smoke, and every sound, the rain, the sigh of the walls, the faint tick of an unseen clock, weaves together into a single note of stillness. The bookshop feels almost like it's floating now. The line between what is real and what is dream has blurred completely. You are no longer sure if you're sitting in the chair or drifting through the pages of the book. You might be both reader and dream, story and dreamer. The floor beneath you feels soft, almost fluid, like a pool of moonlight. The air moves in gentle circles, carrying faint whispers that seem to say your name, not loudly, but lovingly, as though the night itself knows you. The fire, down to its last ember, glows faintly within the hearth. Each time it flickers, it paints new constellations on the walls, tiny golden stars that shift and fade. You imagine that they are stories too, fragments of tales once read, moments of kindness and rest, all glowing together for this final hour before morning. The candle beside you is little more than a pool of wax now, its flame small and steady, but unyielding, like a guardian keeping watch until the very last moment of darkness passes. If you listen closely, beneath the soft patter of water and the creak of the shelves, you can hear something else, a faint, musical sound, so low and delicate it almost feels imagined. It's a melody without beginning or end, as though the shop itself is singing a lullaby to the night. It doesn't ask for your attention. It simply is, surrounding you the way a mother's hum surrounds a sleeping child. You sigh softly, your breath deepening, the sound merging with that hidden melody. Your muscles have melted entirely now, your mind adrift. The edges of the world have dissolved, leaving only warmth, rhythm, and peace. Even your heartbeat seems slower, softer, as if it's syncing perfectly with the pulse of the story, with the secret rhythm of the rain. The bookshop of sleep seems to lean closer around you, its wooden beams and shelves curving protectively, cradling you in its stillness. It's as though the very structure has grown gentle, the way trees bend toward a breeze. The air hums faintly, not quite silence, not quite sound. The books breathe. The shadows breathe. The rain breathes. And you sleep. The shop keeps its vigil, guarding your rest with the patience of centuries. No door opens, no bell chimes. Outside, the fog holds steady, the rain sighs softly, and the moon, pale and round and distant, hangs like a watchful eye over the quiet town. Hours pass, or perhaps none at all. In the space between one heartbeat and the next, dawn begins to stir somewhere beyond the mist. It does not rush. It waits, gentle and slow, allowing the bookshop its peace. When it finally comes, it arrives not as light, but as warmth, a subtle softening of the darkness, a hush that feels like the sky's first exhale. The rain stops completely. The clouds drift apart like pages turning in the wind. And in that delicate silence, the first thread of sunlight touches the bookshop's window, scattering faint rainbows through the fogged glass. Inside, the candle has gone out. The fire has cooled. The book stands still, quiet, content. The chair remains where it always was, soft, patient, waiting for you to wake. The book on the table lies closed now. The title glows faintly once more, just for a heartbeat, before fading back into stillness. The Bookshop of Sleep. Outside, a bird calls once, a small, tentative sound, like the world remembering how to breathe again. And in that moment, you stir, still wrapped in the dream, still held by its warmth. The peace doesn't fade. It lingers, in your breath, in your heart, in the quiet rhythm that has followed you out of the story. The Bookshop of Sleep rests again, its magic folded neatly between its shelves. It will wait for the next weary traveler, the next soul in need of rest. But for now, it slumbers beneath the glow of morning, the rain gone, the air clear, the stories whispering softly in their sleep. And you, calm, safe, endlessly at peace, drift between wakefulness and dream, carrying with you the hush of the rain, the warmth of the fire, and the timeless comfort of a story that never really ends. Somewhere beyond the town, the sun begins its slow climb, stretching golden fingers across the hills, warming the damp rooftops and glistening cobblestones below. The rain-soaked streets shine like ribbons of glass, and the puddles mirror the soft pastel hues of dawn, pink, lavender, and gold. But within the Bookshop of Sleep, that fragile, luminous world outside feels far away, like a distant dream you once had and only half remember. Inside, the air still holds the perfume of old pages and cedar, the kind of scent that feels eternal. The shop remains quiet, reverent, almost. It seems to know that somewhere, tucked in its embrace, you are still half asleep, still drifting gently through the last currents of your dream. The shelves hum faintly, a low and ancient song that no one else could hear. The books shift subtly, like a forest breathing in unison. And through it all, the faintest echo of last night's rain lingers, not as sound, but as feeling, cool, silken, and soothing. In that stillness, the magic of the bookshop feels almost tangible. It's not the dazzling sort of magic that shouts its presence, but the quiet, domestic kind, the magic that lives in the glow of lamplight, in the warmth of a wool blanket, in the unspoken comfort of being safe and unseen. It's the kind of magic that asks for nothing and gives everything, rest, peace, the permission to simply be. If you could open your eyes now, you might see the way a beam of sunlight has found its way through the window, cutting a golden path across the worn rug. Dust motes dance within it like tiny stars, spinning lazily in the air. They float toward the chair where you rest, catching on your sleeve, the pages of the book, the soft folds of the blanket that covers you. Everything glows, faintly, dreamily, as though the room itself has chosen to keep the gentleness of the night alive a little longer. Time moves differently here. Maybe it isn't moving at all. The bookshop exists in that tender space between hours, not quite morning, not quite night. Outside, the world is waking. The bakery 2 doors down opens its shutters, and the faint scent of fresh bread drifts on the breeze. The lamplighter strolls past, humming under his breath, tapping his stick lightly against the stones. A cat darts across the street, sleek and quiet, its fur still damp from the earlier rain. But within the shop, nothing stirs. The stories on the shelves murmur softly to one another, like old friends sharing memories before falling back asleep. The clock above the fireplace ticks with slow patience, tick, tock, tick, each sound echoing like a heartbeat in the hush. You shift just slightly, wrapped in warmth. The cushion beneath you seems to mold perfectly to your shape, holding you the way soft earth cradles a fallen leaf. The book rests beside your hand, its pages faintly cool, its cover warm from the lamp that burns low on the table. You can still feel the faint hum of its presence, that same comforting vibration, like the rhythm of rain on a roof or the thrum of a distant lullaby. Somewhere in your mind, the dream continues. Perhaps you are still wandering the aisles, tracing the spines of endless books that whisper your name. Perhaps you've stepped through one of them, walking into a story made of twilight and kindness, where the rain always falls softly and the stars always wait patiently above. You can't tell where the dream ends or where waking begins, and maybe that's the beauty of it. For the Bookshop of Sleep does not ask you to decide. It only asks that you rest. The door remains locked, though no one remembers ever turning the key. The windows, misted from the night's rain, glow faintly in the sunlight, as though still lit from within by the fire's memory. The books keep watch. The chairs breathe warmth. The shelves hum with stories waiting for the next weary traveler who will stumble in, drawn by the scent of rain and the promise of stillness. And when that traveler comes, when another heart seeks rest, another mind seeks quiet, the shop will awaken again, gently and without rush, as though it had simply been dreaming alongside you. It will open its arms once more, its candles flickering to life, its clock resetting to the hour of calm. For now, it slumbers, and so do you. Your breath deepens again, slow and rhythmic. The world outside brightens, but here, the light remains soft, golden, mercifully calm. The only sound left is the whisper of wind against the window pane, a tender reminder that somewhere beyond, the world continues, but you don't have to follow it just yet. You can stay here a little longer, wrapped in this dream, guarded by the stillness, held by the Bookshop of Sleep. And as your breathing steadies once more, as the edges of thought blur into the softness of rest, the last thing you hear is that gentle murmur, the sound of rain remembered, of stories half told, of a world that asks nothing of you except to drift, quietly, into peace. Outside, the day begins to gather strength. The fog thins and drifts upward, revealing a sleepy town slowly waking to life. The cobblestones gleam with leftover raindrops, and the air smells faintly of damp earth and fresh bread. The sound of distant footsteps, the soft rumble of a cart rolling down the lane, the low cooing of doves nesting in the eaves, they blend into a rhythm that feels steady, almost musical. Yet here, within the walls of the Bookshop of Sleep, time still folds around you like a soft blanket. The light filters through the window now, pale and golden, spilling across the floorboards in gentle ribbons. It touches the edges of the shelves, glinting off the old brass fixtures and the glass-domed clock by the counter. It catches on the spines of books and the faint swirl of dust motes in the air. Everything gleams softly, like the world itself is whispering good morning. But you remain in that suspended space, not fully awake, not fully dreaming, where everything feels safe and beautifully far away. Somewhere, the fire stirs again, as if breathing a final sigh before resting for good. A single log shifts, sending up one last curl of smoke that smells of oak and warmth. It twines lazily through the sunlight before vanishing altogether, leaving behind a glow that seems to linger in the walls, the wood, the quiet. The air still carries the faint sound of last night's rain, hidden deep beneath the hum of morning, as though the world itself has remembered to stay soft for just a little longer. If you listen closely, beneath that hush, you can hear the sound of a page turning. Perhaps it's the book beside you, moved by the faint breeze that has slipped through the cracked window. Or perhaps it's the bookshop itself, one of its many stories continuing quietly, reading itself into existence as you sleep. The words are slow and unhurried, carried by the same rhythm as your breath. They speak not of endings, but of rest, The kind of rest that fills you completely, that seeps into the bones and hums softly in the soul. A cat slips in through a narrow gap in the door, its fur brushed with silver from the morning light. It pads silently across the floor, curling up near your chair. Its purring joins the other soft sounds of the room, the tick of the clock, the faint rustle of leaves outside, the sigh of old wood settling. Every sound layers perfectly, each note blending into the next until the whole world becomes one long, continuous lullaby. You stir, but only faintly. Your fingers rest lightly against the cover of the book, tracing the faded title without opening it. You don't need to, the story has already found its way into your dreams. You can feel it in the rhythm of your heart, in the way your breath rises and falls with the same patient ease as the rain did hours ago. You can feel it in the way the chair seems to hold you, as if it were carved not from wood, but from peace itself. Outside, the sun climbs higher, painting the mist in delicate shades of peach and gold. The world is waking, softly, without hurry. Yet here, inside this quiet place, the bookshop remains its own small universe, a world apart, where morning is eternal and sleep has no edges. Somewhere above, the faint chime of a clock tower echoes through the town, one gentle note that drifts through the air, hangs for a heartbeat, then fades. The sound reaches the bookshop, brushing past the shelves, weaving through the beams, before settling softly near you. It's as though the world beyond is saying, "Stay a little longer." And so you do. Your body, warm and heavy, sinks further into the embrace of the chair. Your thoughts drift like leaves on a quiet stream, each one slower than the last, until they blur into the soft hum of the morning. The cat near your feet stretches, sighs, and settles again, mirroring your stillness. The bookshop holds you in silence, its walls steady and kind, its stories watching over your rest. It is a place that knows the weight of tiredness, the ache of busy days, and the deep relief of quiet. It asks for nothing, gives everything, and exists for this very moment, this breath, this peace, this dream. Beyond the window, the rain-soaked world sparkles, alive with promise. But here, you remain untouched by urgency, suspended and calm. The bookshop hums gently, its rhythm perfectly matched to your own. And as another hour drifts quietly past, you are still, safe, dreaming, wrapped in the hush of the bookshop of sleep, where morning never comes too fast, and the stories never really end.